I think what is going to make Labor Day 2017 a success is getting that spirit of volunteerism back into Labor Day.
We wholeheartedly support the sentiment of Dr. Janice Lindsay. With the devastation caused by recent rains, there's no time better than now to be charitable neighbors and help our communities recover. So this Labor Day, we urge you to join hands and heart to restore your communities. Thanks for joining us on this pre-Labor Day edition of Jamaica Magazine. Our magazine starts now with a word of advice, followed by the news.
Jamaica! Let's show full support for Labor Day 2017, Tuesday, May 23. Register your Labor Day projects with the National Secretariat. Email laborday@mcges.gov.jm or call 978-7654. Come out and give a helping hand in your community. Labor Day 2017. Let's restore, preserve, and beautify Jamaica. Look at me now. Look at me now.
Good day, I'm Carrie Ann Smith and this is your GIS News for Monday, May 22. The first half of expansion works at the Kingston Container Terminal is on schedule to be completed by November 2017, paving the way for the terminal to accommodate larger ships coming through the Panama Canal. Port Authority President and CEO Professor Gordon Shirley gave the assurance following Friday's tour of the terminal. He said the works were closer to 70% complete as the channels were being dredged and the basins deepened. Gordon Quay is also being strengthened and the new cranes are being bought while others are being repaired.
I should also point out that while they're doing the dredging operations, that there's quite a bit of work taking place with the Fisheries Division of the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that the fishermen and the fisher folks who might be impacted by this, that their welfare is being looked after, and so there's an entire program that's associated with that. They're also working with a number of agencies, including the University of the West Indies, on ensuring that the environmental issues, including the lands immediately around the shore, are properly protected.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who was touring the KCT on Friday, said the project was evidence that divestment done well is good for the country.
Divesting assets is not a bad thing for Jamaica. If it is done correctly, if you find the right partners, if you have the right framework in place, Jamaicans benefit. Assets that we would not be able ourselves to utilize because of the fiscal constraints that exist, those assets get to be utilized. In the utilization of those assets, Jamaicans get employed.
The $456 million expansion of the Kingston Container Terminal is being carried out under a 30-year concession agreement with Kingston Freeport Terminal, a subsidiary of CMA CGM. Mr. Holness says the project has already provided employment for 200 Jamaicans who are being cross-trained to occupy jobs in the industry. He says government will be putting the framework in place to allow for maximum benefits from the investment.
The investment that I've seen here as well creates opportunities for not just shipping and cargo handling, but for logistics. Significant acreages of land exist around the port, which are now well placed to be developed for logistics, light manufacturing, and other forms of operations that are synergistic with the port. And the government will move very quickly to ensure that these possibilities are explored and developed so that Jamaicans can benefit.
The Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, will be assessing the impact of the recent torrential flood rains to determine any potential influence on inflation forecasts. BOJ Governor Brian Winter says the bank does not expect its general target to change, but the assessment will guide any adjustment to its forecast range. He was addressing the central bank's quarterly press briefing held in Montego Bay on Friday. Inflation is projected within the range of 4 to 6% for the 2017-2018 financial year. This outlook largely reflects a one-off price increase for fuel, electricity and transportation associated with the recently announced tax measures. The BOJ governor also reported that Jamaica's current account deficit for the last fiscal year was 1.8% of the gross domestic product, which is below the 2% recorded in the 2015-2016 fiscal year.
We have to go back about 20 years in our history to find another deficit as low as this. And I'd like to go a little further. If we subtract imports that have been financed, i.e. paid for, from foreign direct investment inflows, this will be the second consecutive year when Jamaica, in fact, earns more in foreign exchange than it actually spends.
The community development component of government's street lighting installation, loss reduction and community renewal SILK program is to be rolled out in short order. That announcement comes from the Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, Dr. Andrew Wheatley.
And that community program seeks, through the partnership with a number of other government agencies such as the Art NTA, to ensure that we empower people by teaching them life skills so that they can make their own living.
Participants will benefit from vocational training in areas such as cosmetology, housekeeping and woodwork. Minister Wheatley gave the update during a recent lighting ceremony in Rose Heights, St. James, where over 120 homes received electricity. It's the latest community to benefit from the installation of street lights and wiring of homes under the $1.25 billion SILK program. 25 communities in Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine and St. James are to benefit from the initiative. And finally, the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation, KSAC, will be preparing a long-term management plan for the maintenance of the Ward Theatre in downtown Kingston. Mayor of Kingston, Senator Delroy Williams, made the announcement in an interview with GIS News.
We have started that planning already. I don't want to say much about it, but we have to have a management team. We have to put in a management team that's responsible for managing the Ward Theatre.
Senator Williams says the management team will be tasked with getting the facility operational by August this year. The Ward Theatre is one of 2 national projects for Labor Day, and work on the facility will include repairs to the changing rooms and bathrooms.
So it'll be tiling, we'll be taking out the countertops, putting in new countertops. We'll be putting in mirrors, lighting, and we'll also be doing electrical work in the theatre itself, right across the theatre. We'll be doing plumbing. We have started the plumbing and the electrical, and we're doing painting.
Work will continue on the seats, roof and other areas of the building after Labor Day. Kingston's mayor says the Jamaica National Heritage Trust has been providing workers with technical advice in keeping with the renovation of a heritage site. Approximately $40 million will be spent to renovate the theatre, with part funding by the Ward Theatre Foundation. And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Carrie-Ann Smith. Thanks for watching.
Hey, big man. What you do? You see that right?
Wanna write about that?
Dropping a bottle on the ground.
So how that concern you, boss?
Because this is my country too. And when you litter, it affects the environment that affects me and you too.
Keep your garbage to yourself. Don't share it with us. We don't want it. Put it in the bin so that others don't have to. Nobody wants garbage lying around, polluting the environment and taking away from Jamaica's natural beauty. We have a responsibility to keep the environment clean for this and the future generations. Cleanliness is next to godliness.
I want to appeal to Jamaicans. We don't have to live on the gully banks. We don't have to live in areas that are flood-prone.
Floodplain.
Or on the floodplains. So we will have to take up almost a revolutionary view as to how we settle our lands in Jamaica and how we provide housing and where we provide those housing solutions.
Hear more from Prime Minister Andrew Holness in Jamaica House Weekly.
Prime Minister tours flood-ravaged communities, gets first-hand view of expansion works at the Kingston Wharves, and plans for Labor Day with a church service. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Lorraine Mendez. At the top of the week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness led a delegation to the Dominican Republic on an investment-seeking mission. While there, he met with President Danilo Medina and some of the island's private sector interests. Mr. Holness also toured the One Bosch housing project as part of information-gathering efforts in infrastructural development. The Prime Minister's official visit was cut short by trough-induced flooding across 10 parishes at home. After returning to the island Tuesday night, Wednesday morning found Mr. Holness in several of the most affected communities in St. Catherine and St. Anne. He was able to get a first-hand view of the displacement caused by the rains.
There will be significant fallout from this weather event to the localized area. But the government is responding. The team from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is on the ground. They are doing the assessment and assistance will be given. The assistance may not be able to restore everyone to their former state, but it will be sufficient to get people back on their feet.
Mr. Holness also saw the significant damage done to infrastructure, in particular the road networks.
There will have to be some reallocation and recasting to meet the demands. We would not be able to immediately repair all the damages. It will take some time, but we will move as quickly as possible to do it. The NWA is doing the assessment now, and I'm certain that in a few days we will have the figures as to what that is.
The Prime Minister was quick to add that government would enforce the building codes so as to protect lives.
The government has to be far more proactive in ensuring that people do not settle in areas where we already know that they are at potential risk and vulnerable. Informal settlement, haphazard settlement, those things cannot be allowed to continue.
Divesting assets is not a bad thing for Jamaica. If it is done correctly, assets that we would not be able ourselves to utilize because of the fiscal constraints that exist, those assets get to be utilized. In the utilization of those assets, Jamaicans get employed.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness speaking on Friday following a tour of upgrading works being carried out by Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited, KFTL, on Port Bustamante. The $456 million expansion works will allow the port to accommodate larger ships. A subsidiary of CMA CGM, KFTL was granted a 30-year lease of the Kingston Container Terminal and will finance, expand, operate and maintain the terminal, which is to be transferred back to government ownership at the end of the 30-year lease agreement. In addition to providing 200 additional jobs and opportunities for cross-training, Mr. Holness says the divestment puts Jamaica in a better position to take advantage of the expanding logistics and shipping industries.
The investment that I've seen here as well creates opportunities for not just shipping and cargo handling, but for logistics. Significant acreages of land exist around the port, which are now well placed to be developed for logistics, light manufacturing, and other forms of operations that are synergistic with the port. And the government will move very quickly to ensure that these possibilities are explored and developed so that Jamaicans can benefit.
And the Prime Minister closed out his week on Sunday at the Portmore New Testament Church of God in St. Catherine. Mr. Holness read the first lesson at the National Thanksgiving Service for Workers' Week and Labor Day, being held this year under the theme Restore, Preserve, Beautify. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next week for more of the news coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Woman to win gold in Olympic 100-meter sprint, an upcoming global superstar, mouth-watering meals, and a vibrant set of people. We are Jamaicans. Let's get together and bring back the love.
as a people, let us look at the way we dispose of our garbage, because garbage, solid waste is also a big part of what has happened. Too much debris and garbage coming down into the gullies.
Minister of Labour and Social Security Shahini Robinson's impassioned plea after touring sections of St. Catherine and St. Anne that were affected by flood rains. We all can do something to help. Get more details on how you can do so this Labour Day.
Labour Day 2017 will be like no other. You see, this year, we're going to restore, we're going to preserve, we're going to beautify our beautiful island Jamaica.
Labour, the blood, sweat and tears of the Jamaican worker, has been the platform for the construction of our society.
Indeed, I declare that Jamaica was built by Labour.
We want to use this year's observance to provide an opportunity for the engagement of the wider populace on matters related to productivity, work ethic and industrial relations.
In keeping with the theme, the Ministry, in collaboration with the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, will undertake the restoration and beautification of the Workers' Monument in downtown Kingston. Our other activities include a seminar on the upcoming OSH Act and Centenarians Day observance on May 19th. In fact, our celebration on Centenarians Day will twin intergenerational connections and also honor for a working class Jamaican as we pay tribute to Mrs. Violet Brown, the world's oldest woman and Jamaica's oldest senior citizen.
This year, our commemoration will also highlight, in a very special way, the contribution of the Right Excellent Samuel Sharp and his fight for all the people of Jamaica, particularly the workers.
It is an appropriate time to reflect on the value of labor to our development and use the lessons of the past to face the challenges of the future.
Labor Day 2017 will play that critical role of galvanizing public interest and mobilizing communities for the celebration of our country's 55th anniversary of independence. As such, the overarching theme of Jamaica 55 celebrations, Jamaica 55, celebrating Jamaicans at home and abroad, will be used for Labor Day 2017 with a particular mission to restore, preserve, and beautify.
Clean up the place, make we clean up the place. Our little country, make we clean up the place. You love Jamaica, so make we clean up the place.
We're urging Jamaicans to clean up and beautify their environment and landmarks, including monuments, community centers, recreational parks, and public spaces that may be used to not only stage the celebrations, but which will renew the spirit of community and togetherness. The mission to beautify communities will also include a program of configuring murals in each parish. This will kickstart the Jamaica 55 objective to produce a minimum of 55 murals throughout the island. Structures and landmarks that have preserved their historic character help to shape the tapestry of our collective memory, woven with a sense of pride of our past, and provide a stability or identity for the present, all adding to the sum total of what makes us uniquely Jamaican. So this Labor Day, ladies and gentlemen, we dedicate our energies to restore, preserve, and beautify our national landmarks and monuments, from villages, towns, and communities, through cities and parishes. This year, we have decided on 2 national projects for Labor Day. We are pleased to announce that the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport will be working closely with the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation to see to the startup of restoration work at the ward. That work will begin even ahead of Labor Day. But on May 23, we will have a massive undertaking at the site to begin well-needed work on the facade of the structure. Restoration will over time include renovation to changing rooms within the facility, retrofitting of the seating within the theater, electrical and plumbing works, and installation of AC units. We're all very excited about this project, as with the proposed works to be done at Central Police Station. This is another necessary project that underscores the utmost respect that we must have for institutions such as the police stations that are central to the work undertaken by the men and women who are sworn to protect us daily. As part of Labor Day activities, 19 substations across the island will also benefit from restoration work. This year, NEPA will launch its Million Tree Challenge. This is a call to action for all Jamaicans. It is part of NEPA's Trees for Life campaign. The Trees for Life campaign is aimed at increasing the island's biodiversity, green coverage, and our overall resilience to the impacts of climate change. So, as Minister, I'm pleased to announce that in support of this Million Tree Challenge and in recognition of the island's 55 years of independence, the Ministry has committed to planting 155 trees on Labor Day.
Labor Day 2017 will be like no other. You see, this year, we're going to restore, we're going to preserve, we're going to beautify our beautiful island, Jamaica.
I call on all Jamaicans to take on a project, no matter how small. Become part of this national campaign to clean up our communities and environment.
My dream is to restore the school, every park, every scheme. Preserve landmarks and murals, you see. Tell you my goal, my goal, my goal. Labor Day 2017, let's volunteer to get all of them things together. Restore, preserve, and beautify.
Stop! Don't turn a blind eye to child abuse, child neglect, and child labor. If you know or even suspect child abuse, call the Children's Registry. Together, we can make a difference.
Even as we encourage our citizens to put work into Labor Day, we also urge you to protect all children from child labor.
It's a crime with many faces, destroying the future of our children. From the handcart or market boys to those working on the farms or at the fishing village, drug mules, prostitutes or nightclub dancers to street boys wiping windscreens, child labor takes many different forms, which all amount to one thing.
Activities that would deprive them of their educational opportunities. It would either cause them to leave school prematurely, or they would be forced to combine both school and work.
Putting our children to work is illegal and should never be allowed. Jamaica has joined forces with other countries to prevent and stop this abuse. The Child Labor Unit in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security plays an integral role in addressing issues of child labor. Its main focus: preventing the engagement of children in work or activities that adversely affect their development.
What we would consider to be unacceptable work, any process or any work that is morally, physically, psychologically harmful to the child.
Jamaica is a signatory to the International Labour Organization conventions which deal with the worst forms of labor. Convention 138 provides for a minimum age for employment, and Convention 182 sets out the rights of the child, a document which led to Jamaica's Child Care and Protection Act.
Subsequently, we have had several more pieces of legislation which undergirds and addresses more directly some of the issues that we would consider to be the worst forms of child labor, which would be commercial sexual exploitation and the general sexual exploitation of our children. We have signed on to the optional protocols to the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and those spoke to pornographic involvement.
Under Jamaican law, no child under the age of 13 is supposed to be employed. However, between the ages of 13 and 15, they can be engaged in light work under conditions which are clearly defined by the ministry. Still, not all work is bad for children. Child labor should never be confused with normal activities or chores that may enhance their well-being. A 2002 survey showed that approximately 16,000 children were engaged in some form of economic activity. Recent inspections revealed a decline in that number, but ministry officials say there is no room for complacency. Constant monitoring, both by the authorities and the general public, is essential. Enforcing the law is critical. The penalty for putting a child to work is significant.
Persons can find themselves either before a resident magistrate, and you can be fined 500,000, or it could be both, fine and imprisonment, or a fine of up to $500,000 or 6 months in prison.
Labor inspectors in the ministry's child labor unit are constantly in the field, monitoring to ensure employers abide by the rules. Keeping children in school and out of the working environment is everybody's business. Currently, there are national programs such as the expanded social safety net to help parents keep their children in the classroom. And that's exactly where they belong, not on the streets or in factories in harm's way. Indeed, it takes a village to raise a child. So let's be our brother's keeper and help stamp out child labor. How?
When you identify a child that is obviously in a place where they're not supposed to be, that we take the responsibility to inquire, why are you here? If you see a child that is not attending school on a regular basis, they're somewhere else when they're supposed to be in school, it should raise a red flag that I probably should try and find out. And if you can confirm, not necessarily, but report it to the relevant authorities, that the necessary intervention can be undertaken.
Children have a right to enjoy their childhood, a right to be protected from all forms of abuse. Let's protect them. Let's protect them.
Jamaica! Let's show full support for Labor Day 2017, Tuesday, May 23. Register your Labor Day projects with the National Secretariat. Email laborday@mcges.gov.jm or call 978-7654. Come out and give a helping hand in your community. Labor Day 2017. Let's restore, preserve, and beautify Jamaica.
Look at me now, look at me now.
So that's how we leave you on this pre-Labor Day edition of Jamaica Magazine. We hope you go out and play your part in achieving the vision of making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Get some ideas by visiting our website, jis.gov.jm, or join us on social media. The links are on screen. There's also a mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.